FrightFest Television here, everyone again, and we're thrilled to actually have director Ivan Kavanagh. Now his film The Canal has actually been doing really great guns around the festival circuit, launched in Tribeca, great reviews. Welcome Ivan, it's
thank you very much. Thanks for
having me. Now let's take it through the whole thing. You're not really a horror director, are you?
Well, I made one horror film back in 2007 called Tin Can Man, which did well at festivals and won a number of awards. And
we didn't show it. How was that?
I don't know what happened there. I don't think
it must be too arty.
Yeah. I don't think so. But it won a lot of awards. But I love the freedom of it. I love the freedom of the genre. You know, I love that you can do absolutely anything. You can push the sound, the picture, the editing to absolute breaking point almost. You know, and I was just dying to get back to it. I made a couple of very personal films about my own family between now and then. Family dramas, it's what you call them, art house films, but I couldn't wait to get back to horror, and it looks like I'll be in horror for the next 2 films as well.
Well, that sounds good, very promising, so you'll be coming back.
Yeah.
So where did the idea for The Canal come? Now, I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because most people will say that it's almost like Sinister in Dublin. Okay. What would you say to that?
Well, Sinister came out actually just as we were about to come into production. And I've only seen it just very recently, so I don't see the similarities only that it deals with old film. There's a Super 8, ours is film from 1905, so I think there's a big difference between both films. But I mean, the main reason I wanted to do it was because I wanted to make a film about a cinema archivist, you know, and I always thought that would be a great character for a film. Because he investigates for a living in a way. So this character, in a way, is investigating about his own past, and he's investigating about himself. Basically, he's trying to find out about himself, and you don't find out until the end what it's really about, you know. But also as well with a cinema archivist, I thought that when he either goes into his own fantasies, into his own head, or else if the demons or whatever it is in the house take him over. For me, because he's a cinema archivist and because he knows absolutely everything about cinema, and at the beginning of the film he talks about horror films, for me then his nightmares would be influenced by horror. You know what I mean? So the film is very self-aware in that way, and there's a few references to other horror films in there as well, and also horror literature, all this sort of stuff. So it's very self-aware and playful in that way, I think.
Yeah, so it should play really well to this audience, then our audience, because they're actually really savvy when it comes to that sort of stuff. So
that's great.
You know, so I mean, okay, and Rupert Evans, I mean, he's great in it. I mean, so how did you get him?
It took me I spent a long time casting, because as everyone knows, casting is probably the most important part of film making, you know. But it took me a long time to find the character. But once I talked to Rupert, I knew at once it had to be him, because there's a sort of beautiful vulnerability about him, and the character needed that. You needed to like him, and also feel sorry for him, and also not want him to be the murderer. You had to root for him. There had to be ambiguity there right until the end. I thought he was perfect, and also he's willing to go. I think he was up for a challenge. He'd gone some very dark places with the character, and the character does go to some very dark places, I think.
It's a very striking looking film. I mean, people love it for that reason, I think. It's almost looks beautiful. I mean, did you work hard on the look?
Yeah, me and the cinematographer, Pierce McGrail, we met for about 6 or 7 months before, and we planned almost everything. I had it all in my head. I just needed to find the right person to be able to bring it out there, you know. I wanted it to look maybe as if it was made in the 70s or something, you know. We used a lot of lenses from the 70s to give that old filmic look. I wanted to go between different film stocks and go back to digital then. So most of the film is shot on the red Epic, and the rest of the film is shot with a hand-cranked camera from 1915, which it was with a private collector in the UK, and we ran some 35mm film through it, and it just came out, and it looked exactly like those old films from 1905, you know.
Wow. Now, what about Hannah Hoekstra and all the other? I mean, she's the weirdest one. I mean, it's because of the co-production deal, is it?
Yeah, not really, because there wasn't any pressure on me to cast anyone from anywhere else, because we could post maybe in another country, or we could use technicians or something from another country. But I saw a film called Himmel, which is a Dutch film, and I thought she was just extraordinary in it. Also, as well, I didn't want you to be able to place where the film takes place. You know, I wanted like a dreamlike or nightmare type atmosphere. So you should be able to. You think you recognise it, but don't. It might be Ireland or it might be London, or it could be anywhere. I just wanted it to be placeless, and that's why I had people from all over in it, and it wasn't anything to do with co-productions or anything like that.
Oh, I see. And now you've said that, actually that becomes crystal clear.
Yeah, and also as well, I mean, there's certain films like Eyes Wide Shut, and there's a film by Carl Dreyer called Gertrude, where the characters have a certain way of speaking and delivering the lines that is almost dreamlike, and I wanted that dreamlike nightmare type feeling to it, you know.
You really do sort of get some. I mean, the toilet is just like. I mean, that must have been a real fun to dress, and they actually.
Well, it was an actual toilet. That's what's the most disgusting thing about it.
I was hoping. I wasn't thinking you weren't going to say that, but now you know. Oh dear.
We did dress it slightly. We made it worse than it was, but really we didn't have to add much to it. It was absolutely disgusting, you know. And we have to shoot in there during the hottest day of the year in Dublin, and the stench was just unbelievable, you know. I mean, and the character goes in and he vomits, but I think Rupert was really retching, you know. Wow. It was absolutely disgusting, but beautiful, perfect for the film, you know.
Why do you call it the Canal? I mean, I'm interested in that because in some ways it's actually not the right title for it, or is it in your estimation?
Well, it is. There's also, I mean, some reviewer very cleverly pointed out a lot of references to canals in it that I wasn't aware of. I think it was great. So it is the perfect. Someone said about the Bert Canal.
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah. And also as well, the Canal is a place where I grew up around that, not that exact area, but an area like that. And it was always I used to play around that area, and it was always very run down, and it kind of scared me a little bit. It was, but attractive at the same time, you know. So I wrote with that in mind, that location. And the terrible thing was when I went back to that location from my childhood, it had been completely renovated. You know, it was pristine. We couldn't use it, so I had to find this absolutely the most run down part of the Dublin Canal we could find. Took us a long time to find it, and we ended up finding it by following Google Maps. And I spotted this industrial area, and we went to it, and I knew it had these amazing pylons and power station, and the canal was really run down and filthy, and it was perfect for the film.
Wow. I mean, you know, it's done really well. I mean, the reviews have been, you know, you must have been, how was the Tribeca? I mean, it must have been,
amazing,
you must have been delighted by how it all worked out there. I mean,
it was so great. I mean, you go, especially for the very first screening, you don't know how people are going to react. So you're obviously nervous. I'm nervous before every screening, you know. But for that one in particular, where we didn't know how it was going to work out, but it was a film I was proud of, and it was a film that came out exactly the way I had imagined it. You know, we spent a long time on the sound editing, all the editing. We experimented with the editing the way I wanted to. I had a great time on it. I found great collaborators that I worked with on other films. But it was like a beautiful bonus that the reviews were so good and the audience reaction was so good, and people really got it. I wanted it to be a visceral cinema experience, and people have said that's what it was. You know, for me, the best films are either you love them or you hate them, but you can't ignore them. You know, the worst for me would be to be like people to come out and say, "Yeah, it was all right," or you know, "Yeah, I forget it." Hopefully, they won't forget it in a hurry. And certainly with the imagery, I worked very hard to get that nightmare type feel to the imagery. And that's why a lot of the imagery feels very raw and uncensored, because I think when you dream, when you have a nightmare, there's no censor, there's nothing there. These sometimes horrible images come into your head. And there's one or two in this film in particular, for me, are very nightmarish and uncensored. Should have that feeling, you know.
We're seeing a lot of sort of like really good sort of genre movies from Ireland at the moment. I mean, we always show about 2 or 3, like Dark Touch, Dorothy. I mean, Billy O'Brien stuff. I mean, what is it over there? I mean, is it different? I mean, is it like there is a groundswell of genre filmmaking, you think, or is it just you?
I don't know what it is. I mean, I think as a filmmaker, and probably everyone feels like this, you kind of feel like you work in a bubble. You know what I mean? So you're not aware of anything else that's going on around you. For me, the big difference was, I'm from quite a working class area in Dublin, and the big thing for me was how cheap digital video cameras became during the digital revolution in the mid-90s, which is when I started to seriously make short films and go on to feature films. Maybe it's the accessibility to the cameras, to the editing equipment. maybe it's that, and I think in Dublin we have very high for the small population. We have very high cinema going figures.
Yeah, you do,
know?
don't you?
So I think there's a lot of cinema lovers and a lot of horror fans there as well. So I don't know what it is exactly. It just seems to be all happening at the same time. And I know what you mean. There is a lot of genre stuff coming out there. Good genre stuff as well, I think, you know.
It's all very, very, quite noteworthy, I think. Well, you mentioned the fact that you're going to stay in the horror genre for a couple. Anything you can talk about, or is it a bit in the two?
It's a bit. I'm talking to some TV companies about a possible horror TV series, but I can't
like Irish Horror Story as opposed to American Horror Story.
No, it would actually be set in America, partly.
Irish American Horror Story, right?
Yeah, and I'm working on another psychological horror film as well. I'm writing that at the moment.
Right.
But I can't say too much about that.
No,
and also I have a Western in development with the Irish Film Board as well.
A Western in Ireland.
Well, set in America. But,
okay.
It's about an Irish immigrant in America. And what else have I got? I think that's it for the moment.
No, listen, I'm so pleased you're here. It's great to have you. I'm sure the Canal's going to do really well with our audience, and so let's see how it goes. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Ivan.
can't wait.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Man.